LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network.
This is it. This is for all the chips. Work for championships. No, it gets no better than this. Just sit and relax a bit. We're talking to pass and blitz. We're talking to jump and switch. We're talking to pitch and miss. Clean space, kick space. You come to the right place. Deep bait. I don't need to see other shows. I'm straight. Cause they not impressing me. I tune into Legacy. Legacy. Fourth and goal and on the road. Legacy. Down 3 seconds to go. Legacy. 2 out, bases loaded. Legacy. It's not a mystery, you're tuned into Legacy. Check the flag on the final lap. Legacy. 12th round, who gets in the match? Legacy. You want a legacy. You build a legacy. Broadcasting live right now so the whole world can see.
Now, the LegacyMaker Sports Podcast.
Welcome, everybody. We about to get this bad boy started.
Here are your hosts, Darrell Owens and Jay Quimby.
Glad to have you back with us. It's been 3 months. We know. It's been 3 months. We had our off season, but we have returned, and this time we have returned with our 4 days. That's right. The LegacyMaker Sports Podcast season is pretty much underway here. We're going to be breaking down 4 ways and all that good stuff. For those who don't know how it works, once again, I'm your man, Darrell Owens. We got our guy, Jeremiah Quimby.
What's up?
Sir, how are you doing, my man?
Oh, I'm blessed. Another day on planet Earth of fun and debauchery.
Just got to have the fun and debauchery. Look, once again, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to be back with you all to break down and start to get into our NFL season. And me and Jay are going to break down each week. The next couple of weeks, we're going to break down each NFL division. Today, we're starting with the AFC South, which should be a fun one. Probably in a lot of people's eyes, maybe the worst division in football, but we're going to break that division down today regardless. So we definitely going to see. We're going to get into that today as well. But Jay, before we get into all that, man, how's everything been going? How's life? I think, we've, since the last time we've been on, at the time you were married for a couple of weeks. How things are going, bro?
It's going great, man. Got a wonderful partner, Becca Cottingham Quimby. Pain in my ass, but love her. God, I couldn't ask for a better person to live the journey of life with. Everybody knows that I'm a pain in the ass and I'm a picker, and she gives it back just as much, and it's great. I'm really so blessed. I'm not complaining. We've had a couple deaths in the family, and it's part of life, but man, here in the last couple of years, man, it's just sucked.
It's been tough. I know it feels like we always end up having to start to show up that way, but crazy. Hopefully, things will continue to try to get better. I know it's a little rough out there, but for all those out there, we are glad to have y'all back. And now, before we get into all the NFL stuff, because we do have a lot of other things that have happened, and there's some big sporting champions have been crowned over the last couple of weeks. So let's get into that, and let's start off first with our top story that the Golden State Warriors, ladies and gentlemen, are the NBA champions for the 4th time in 8 years. Steph Curry and the crew are putting up the trophy. They've got another trophy to the case. I believe that's 7 overall, or at least 6 or 7 overall for the Warriors franchise. If you'd have told us this 10 years ago that the Warriors franchise would have this many rings, we probably would have all laughed at you. And we knew that they were good. We didn't know how good they would be. Jay, what are your thoughts on this Golden State Warriors team winning their 4th NBA championship in 8 years?
To be 8 years ago, I'd have been like, huh? What are you talking about? But they put together, and they're still bringing in the firepower with people like, they bring in Wiggins is there, Poole. Nobody, he might have been a decent role player, but he's got the potentials to be a star when, possibly they depart with Thompson or Green, because I don't see Curry going anywhere. For me, honestly, this puts, if Curry can put one more ring on a finger, he's got to be in the talk of top 5 players ever. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. It's starting to become a debate now, and it's the way he's played. I'm a huge Steph Curry guy. If I had to say who's my favorite player in the league, not obviously on my favorite team, but favorite player in the league is Steph Curry. Between him and Giannis have been my two favorite guys. But over the last, I love what Giannis has done, but there's something about the way Steph Curry plays the game. It is exciting. The way the accuracy of his shot, the way he can shoot the ball is just amazing. Yes, he does have some off nights here and there, but it's just exciting to watch it. It makes the game exciting without the dunks.
Oh, absolutely. He has got to be my most favorite shooter since Reggie Miller retired. And Reggie Miller wasn't even the best player in his family.
Right. And that's the thing, man. It's like, and so you see, watching what this Golden State team has done has been remarkable. They had their first run without Kevin Durant, and they were able to win a chip. They bring Kevin Durant in. Kevin Durant was the MVP of those two, the finals MVP of both of those finals. They made it to another finals without him. They had a lot of injuries. That the year they lost to Toronto, they could have easily lost, in a lot of people's eyes. I mean, Kawhi played his butt off, but those injuries really hurt that Warriors team. We could be talking 5. If they wouldn't have lost that series to the Cavaliers, we could be talking 6. It's just like,
why you got to take away a chip from my team?
I'm not taking away a chip. I'm just, just saying. But yeah, I mean, you go back and look at it, and this team has just been, it's just been good to see. Now, I will say this. I got to get this out there. Not the biggest Draymond Green fan. What he does for that franchise, I'm going to give him love, though. What he does for that franchise, like his part of that franchise is critical. I don't know if they're the same team without him. I know that he may not do all of the points. They're not the same team without him. He is a critical part. It's like how Rodman was with the Bulls team. Obviously, Rodman was getting
exactly what I was going to say, because he's the fire. He's the passion.
Right. He's the mouthpiece.
Well, the mouthpiece, I was going to say like hockey analogy, because I know that's going to be coming up. He's the enforcer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one that takes all the shit and then, facilitates, gets everybody fired up. I mean, didn't like him because, he played, and he didn't play for the team up north, but he played up north.
Hey, close enough. Real quick before we get in, want to give love to some of the people that are out there. Our man, Steven Askins, who's got one of the best pregame shows before the NFL season starts. So, when the season started, you need a little bit of energy before the season hit up. Our man, Steven Askins, thanks for coming in. Steven. Also, I'm pretty sure this is this is LA. I don't know why it says Facebook user, but it says, look at Jay Quimby looking like a fried fish. There's only
on mine. On mine, it's LA.
Oh, it is LA on there.
LA.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Hi, beautiful. I missed you at the wedding. You could have been the one to say no.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Steven gives love to Colorado, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. And then our man, Cordell Green, saying go Warriors. So yeah, I mean, this Warriors team is a franchise. Good to see them go out there and do the things they were able to do, Jay. And it was a fun experience. It was a great series. I mean, Boston did not, that game, if they would have went 7, who knows what could have happened. Hated to see Tatum kind of fall off a little bit. A lot of people, a lot of expectation, a lot of talk about Kobe, and I felt bad for him because I feel like he should have left the Kobe talk until after they won the chip. And now people look at him a different way because of it, Jay.
They do. I mean, he's still really young.
Right.
He is one of the premier 3-and-D guys in the league. I don't care. Say what you want. If somebody was to say, "Oh, the Celtics are everybody would want to try to get him on their team."
If I could get Tatum right now, I'd give away a couple things to get Tatum on.
I mean, he was that draft. I mean, I love Tatum coming out, and he's only going to get better. But to compare yourself to the Mamba, I mean, nobody can do that. I'm sorry.
I just wish he'd have waited. Like, I understand all the Kobe motivation, the cell phone picture, like, texting Kobe. That's all sentimental. That was great. But then, he went out there and he did have a couple of decent games. He had that 13 assist game, maybe not the best scoring game, but he had 13 assists in one of the games. I think just overall, Jay, he went in there and, in today's society, you got to be careful how you approach on social media.
Well, basically, he wrote checks that his ass couldn't cash.
Unfortunately, I mean, I think maybe in any other series he may have been able to cash it. It just didn't happen in this series, and it was the worst time. It was the worst time. Don't want to take anything away from Tatum. He's a great player, man. And this Celtics team is young. Don't be surprised if they're back in the mix, if not back to the finals next year. Who knows? Maybe even win.
They need to just they need to bring, keep Smart. I mean, he's that defensive guy, but they need another player. What's wrong?
No, I think the screen disappeared on me. Oh, there you go. I hit the button. I was like, whoa. I still can hear you, but I was like, okay, I'm not going crazy then. But yeah.
You look like you were going. You look like you were like chasing a bee or some shit. I was like, Darrell, I'm right here, buddy.
Wait a minute. Where's it at? Oh, man, that's great. But yeah, so watch out for them. The Warriors, I mean, real quick before we move on to our next top story, do you think they repeat next year? Do you think there's a strong chance? I mean, Poole is a free agent. And I believe who's the other free agent? There's another big name. Wiggins is another free agent. So, and Wiggins is probably going to gather a lot of money in this offseason because of what he's done. So,
it'd be weird for me, but I really, the Pistons got a lot of money and they got a young core. I mean, I see them being back in the playoffs, but as far as, I mean, you got the Suns, you got the Clippers. I can't now.
The Grizzlies. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be and the East has gotten better. So the
NBA,
and
even the Jazz.
Right, and then the first time in a long time, Jay, the NBA feels like, you know how you always can go into a season.
Level.
Right, you can go into a season and be like, oh, it's gonna be Lakers and so, or it's gonna be so and so. Like right off the bat, for the first time in a minute. In the last couple of years, you could say, well, no, this is not a gimme. Like that Warriors team next year is not a gimme. Somebody can go there and get that dub next year. So that's what I like, that parity.
But then
for a while.
You throw in the fact of also health. Like you and I were talking earlier this week, Curry wasn't healthy at the beginning of his career, and getting older, I think this is like what? Year 12 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, shit happens.
Exactly.
Like remember that meme I sent you where you got your two knees. One's a convertible Corvette, and the other one's a 1970 slug bug.
Sounds about right. Real quick comments. Our man Drew Willingham said Texan Kobe was overhyped. Definitely true. Wouldn't have made the text for Kobe. He says, Darrell, you are still here. You have not disappeared off the screen. Thank God, because I got a little worried. The screen went blank on me. Our man Paul Schofield says, y'all think Wiggins is leaving? Jay says, Jay, what do you think? Wiggins leave?
Oh, yeah, because money talks, man.
Yeah, I don't want him to go. If he value, it depends on, does he value championships or money? And I think he's going to garner so much money. You got to go get the money. You got the ring now. Now, obviously, if he doesn't care about that and it's loyalty, by all means, go win some more rings. You are number one pick in the draft. A lot of people, spit on you, when you first came out, and LeBron sent them away. So it's like, he
was the one I was not happy about giving up. That other guy, I was glad his ass.
He's like, yeah, he can go, but please don't give up our number one pick. So yeah,
I was talking about Anthony Bennett. Remember that shit?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. All right, everybody, search. Where is Anthony Bennett? Need to find out. Paul says Jazz overhyped every season, and Paul doesn't see him leaving. And Steven wants to know, does Bill stay or does Bill go? I think Bill is going to stay. I don't think
he's going to stay. He's very comfortable in the Capitol, doing what he does, and I mean, yeah, I think he stays there.
Yeah, at first at one point I thought maybe he would go, but I don't see it going. I think he'll stay in Washington. All right, next topic, or real quick, we'll stay on the NBA before we head to our other topics here. So this happened yesterday. This was a lot yesterday evening. First, we had the buyout for the Rockets. They're going to buy out John Wall, and the news out there is that he will sign with the Clippers, which is a very interesting signing if they can get a healthy Kawhi Leonard back. And then, of course, Kyrie Irving obviously opting into his Brooklyn Nets player option. A lot of people didn't think that one was going to happen. They thought he was going to be out of town, and the trade, all that stuff. We thought all that could happen. I want real quick from you, Jay. What were your thoughts on these two moves?
It's still like I want to see Wall do great things because, we got to see how good he was in Washington, but he wasn't happy. And then he kind of started falling off. I have respect for John Wall as a player. Kyrie, I think he did a disservice to the Nets and set him back another year just because you never know which Kyrie's going to show up every night. He's no longer that player that he was with the Cleveland. Every night, well, I know a guy that said between him and LeBron, they drop 80.
Yeah, I know a guy too. And you're talking
you're talking. Yeah, so for me, Kyrie is no longer like he has his nights where he is a star, but he's no longer consistently a star.
See, that's the thing. And I think that's when you go back and look at it. When a lot of people go back and look at Kyrie Irving is a stud when he's on the court, when he's consistently there. Like when he's out there, he's killing it. And that's the argument, I think, with a lot of people. A lot of people say, man, he's so good, but he's not there. Or, he's so good, but he's, in some people's eyes, he is a nuisance to the team. And it's like, just imagine if we got a full year of just pure, uninterrupted, all ball Kyrie Irving. He's the MVP in the league. He can win the MVP of the league. And that's the thing I think a lot of people, are wondering. But supposedly, even though he opted in to the Brooklyn Nets, the Lakers is still on the table. They're still trying to get him back and have a LeBron-Kyrie reunion. So,
but I think I saw something too that Westbrook opted in to stay with the Lakers.
Yes.
I mean, if you're the Lakers fan, you're like, what the hell?
I just feel like these two opt-ins could potentially be a trade. I think. I think Westbrook making 47 in his opt-in, and was 37, but they can work out the money. But it would be very interesting to see two sets of guys reunite.
Would KD really be okay with Westbrook, especially with Westbrook played as poorly as he did with the team in LA?
You know what? I think he would. Because let's be honest with you. KD's been a little bit talkative lately on social media and stuff like that, but and those teams, it was all when they needed a bucket, that was Westbrook, man. And I don't think that chemistry ever really left. I think that, there may have been a little beef in there, maybe a little Shaq Kobe type situation. It just didn't, go their way. But in my opinion, man, if you go back and look at it, it would be fun to see if both sets of guys can rectify those bad relationships, And I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to see it. I want to see if Kyrie and LeBron can get it back together. I want to see if Westbrook and Durant can get it back together. But
that's just because you want to see Miami in the fucking championship game again.
Nation, baby, look.
I know how you think, bro.
I just want my guys back in there. But I digress. We shall see. All right, next topic we're gonna go into. Got to talk about my guys, man. I am a very, very happy man right now. The Colorado Avalanche, baby. Cup number 3. Jay, I'm not going to lie to you, bro. I was super excited for this, as you can tell. But, the last time one of my sports teams won a championship, I believe, was the 13-14 season, or might have been the 12-13 season, which was Miami. I'm not going to count my Portland Timbers. I'm not too deep into MLS, but I am a Portland Timbers fan. They won a couple years ago. But with all that being said, this Avalanche team came in and defeated a very tough 2-time defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning. There was a little controversy through the series, but I'll take it.
Game. What was it? Game 4. Oh man, that didn't set well with me. I'm not a Lightnings fan. I love my Red Wings. But, the last 2 years that Tampa Bay Lightning's done good, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers have done good.
Well, maybe it'll be a reverse. Maybe y'all still pull it out.
No,
maybe this bodes well for Denver, the Denver Broncos. That may make LT happy. I think make LT.
Nope, I don't give a shit if LT's happy. I want Jay happy.
Well, look, I will say
I love LT, but no.
I will say this: a lot of people think that this, like the series itself was a very, very tight knit series. There was a couple of questionable calls, two big ones that really went in the Avalanche favor. There was that one when they scored the overtime goal where poor Landeskog, his skate just fell off. Like the skate fell off, and you can see McKinnon trying to push him. He was trying to push him off the ice, and it eventually got him off. But when they freeze framed it, he was still on the ice right before he took the shot to win the game. And so that was a big controversy. And I think they had another one in game 6 where there was 6 men on the ice and they scored a goal. It was right at that same exchange. They were just getting off. And so a lot of people were like, man, wait a minute, but let's be honest. How many times has that happened during the season, but nobody really pays attention to it because it's just, it's a regular season game.
It's not under the microscope of the finals.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, kudos to you, because I really thought I didn't see the Lightning's goalie be the goalie he was all season. He looked way off. Yeah.
He had some moments where he was like, there was a couple games I was like, man, Colorado was giving it their all. I mean, shots on top of shots, and my man was doing a really good job. But eventually, you can't stop everything. And with the shooters they have on that Colorado team, eventually it was going to come to pass.
Well, exactly. So where was the defense that we've seen in the last 2 years besides the goalie for Tampa?
Yeah.
And the offense was stagnant. It was like stale pond water.
Stale pond water. Look, nevertheless,
they play on ice.
Hey, that's true. That's true. But nevertheless, this guy right here is happy. I'm glad to see a championship. Had a chance that he could have got it. Could have been a double whammy. But I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to be greedy.
Tilt your head to the right a little bit so everybody can see your dumbass sign back there.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Ding. Hey, look. When I get paid, I'm buying my own championship shirt. It's game time, baby. Let's go. Go Avs. Congratulations on that 3rd championship. Let's do it. Now, let's get into the meat and potato thing. Let's get into the NFL. Man, we got to talk about boy. I feel like for the last 6-7 shows that we had to talk about this topic. And we got to give you an update on the Deshaun Watson situation out there in Cleveland. Now, last time we were on, he was in Houston. Things have changed. So it's very interesting to me, Jay. The Deshaun Watson situation has taken such a crazy turn here in the last.
Some of those stories make you wonder if he just there's something off kilter upstairs, bro.
I think the video that does him a lot of damage in this situation, and I think you might know the one I'm talking about. He's at the house out there in Houston playing, backdoor basketball with Mia Khalifa, the famous porn star, and she goes to dunk on him on the rim, and she just falls. The laziest dunk I've ever seen. She goes full speed. She just, oh my God, Deshaun. She just lays on top of him. He's just giggling. I don't think that video did him any justice, especially when you start to hear all of the stories and what the stories have been. I mean, I feel it's just a crazy situation, Jay. I want to believe him, but it's hard to believe him at this point. It's hard.
Oh, absolutely. But especially when you hear that, Houston was having, I'm here to get my massage, but I need you to sign this NDA, please.
Yeah, Houston's scandalous for that. That's the one thing I don't like, Jay. Houston is very scandalous for their part in this. And, they said that Sean decided to go in and settle with these people because he had to go after Houston. So, they've already put the paperwork in to go after Houston in this scenario. And it's like, man, they had their part. And to me, it seemed, I don't want to say a coup, but it feels like a setup from the get-go. They were all gravy with it, Jay, until, man, I want out. Oh, you want out, huh? And we talked about this for a year. We always felt there was something amiss.
But it makes you wonder, though, because the thing that gets me is I feel bad for the Browns.
Right.
Because, if they don't suspend him at least 8 games.
Right.
there's going to be a lot of backlash, and you can't. You've already burned your bridge with Baker. Baker's going to tell you eat a big hard one.
Baker said bump that. I think I've already heard they said Jacoby Brissett would be the starter if they
trade all those picks and give $230 million for the greatest backup there is. That's dumb.
Now, here's the thing. I didn't realize this. Now, I heard a little bit about it, but I hadn't realized it until I heard it the other day. Very smart on the Browns' part. The base salary this year is only $1 million. So they were fully expecting my man, just in case he gets suspended for the year, not to be there.
Because the 43 million, I think, or 23, something like that, is for next year.
It's smart. So if everything goes awry, they get everything cleared up, and nobody else decides to pop out the woodworks, which wouldn't surprise me at this point.
Let's not say the word pop out when we're talking about this.
Hey, we might have to get a Deshaun Watson video next.
God.
I had to retire Grindgate. I know we're talking about the Jaguars today. I retired Grindgate. I'm sorry.
But see, now you bring up Grindgate, but that makes us go back and look at what happened with Robert Kraft and his massage shit. And, he got this. So if Deshaun gets a year, if not longer, why the hell is Robert Kraft still doing what he's doing?
That's the double negative, and it's kind of the same thing with the conduct with Daniel Schneider. And we'll get into Daniel a little bit. It's like the whole scenario. It's like it's okay for you guys to do these things as owners, but when it comes to the players, it's like no, you can't do that. Like that's the part I don't understand. And if you're watching from the outside and you say, "Oh, that's not cool at all," I said, "This is wrong. This is wrong." Right. I mean, none of it's right. None of whatever they've been doing is right, but fair is fair. If you're gonna, bash the players or do whatever with the players, you got to do the same thing with the owners. You got to do it.
Exactly. But didn't they have a vote on the owners on how to handle Daniel Snyder, whether to keep him? And
they had the option to put it up for a vote. I mean, Daniel Snyder's done some things, man. Supposedly,
but he's still there. So I mean, it's a head scratcher. It don't make any damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, set a standard and stay to that standard. Don't let it flux for certain people, because then you're going to lose fans. You're just now getting fans back after all the stuff like with Kaepernick and this and that.
Yeah, and
you're screwing it up again.
It's like it's the craziest thing to me. It's the absolute craziest thing to me. I hope they'll figure it out. But let me ask you this: looking at this Cleveland situation, Cleveland still is a really good team on paper. Obviously, Deshaun made them, if he's healthy, he's playing, and he's not in trouble, he makes his team tremendously. They're a threat in the AFC.
Top 5 in the AFC, yes.
Right, they're a threat in the AFC. They're definitely playoff contention for sure. Definitely could win the AFC North the way the North is looking right now. I mean, obviously the Bengals have gotten better, and but you look at it and say, it's very intriguing to me to see how that would kind of play out. Do you think that Cleveland can still I'm not gonna say look past this, but get past this? And if he's out, do you think Cleveland still could win with Brissett?
Well, Brissett has always been, looked down on, and he's always been steady when he's been called into service.
Right.
Can he give the numbers for what they have offensively? I'm sure he can put up some numbers, but they have a two-headed monster at running back, so they become a running team then.
Right, and they would have to go heavy on them. But then I almost feel bad for Amari Cooper, because you come over in this trade and you didn't know who your quarterback was going to be. You thought, okay, maybe Baker in the beginning. Now it's like it went from Baker Mayfield to Deshaun Watson to probably Jacoby Brissett, and more likely Jacoby Brissett to start the season. So, Cleveland's got the talent. Defensively, they're really good on the defensive side of the ball. They got a lot of good pieces on that defensive side. So maybe that'll carry the day. Who knows? But as the world of Deshaun turns, and we'll probably be updating you again next week on Deshaun as we continue our.
Well, they were supposed to have everything out today, but apparently because the lady that made the decision or makes the decisions on it, we haven't heard a statement from her yet. So
yeah, it would be all luck that it happens while the show is going on. So we'll see if that pops off while the show is going on. But we'll give you more Deshaun as we go along. Now, we got one more topic to bring up before we head to our 4 days and give you our breakdown of the AFC South teams. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Commanders. Now, Washington, as we've already kind of got into it a little bit, talked about Schneider. We talked about, we're going to talk about Terry. Because they signed Terry McLaurin to an extension. But looking at this Commander situation, it's the Daniel Snyder situation is wild, Jay. That's the nicest thing that we can say about it.
I was gonna say that might be an understatement, bro.
It's a wild situation. What are your thoughts on this, man? Because I don't. To me, there's just something weird about it. It continues to get weird and weird every day. What are your thoughts?
We seen it like in the '90s with Mark Schott.
Mm-hmm.
And the Reds. We've seen the Clippers controversy with their owner. How is the man still there? So far, Gruden was pulled out of his position. We've got emails, and he got subpoenaed to go to a federal court, and he's like, fuck it.
So I got a little bit more information. I got a little bit more information on that. So supposedly, he's saying that he's not going to come. His thing is his lawyer is out of the country, and that they need to reschedule. So I think to me that seems like he's just trying to buy a little bit more time. Let's pray he's not lying to the court, and this lawyer is really out of the country. But supposedly, the lawyer's out of the country, and he will subpoena once they can figure out a date. But to me, that just seems like I need to figure out time to get my story together.
It's hell, but
I got to get my story together.
He should have hired Johnny Depp's lawyer. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Was it Camille?
I have no idea.
Camille Vasquez. So look, that lady is a shark. You hear me? Like watching her in that trial, ruthless.
Oh yeah.
She became famous on that bad boy. So that
it
might be the move for Daniel Snyder.
Did you see where Nate Burleson was picking on Amanda Heard's lawyer? He's like, you take the L. We just know that we didn't show up and get it done. We didn't blame it on the other team. I was just like, get her, Nate.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's so funny, man. Like, the whole that whole scenario was just crazy. It was a very interesting like 8 weeks. I can't wait for the TV movie to come out on Lifetime because I'm pretty sure that it will. And it'll probably be hilarious or badly done. But besides all of that, this Washington team has been trying to get themselves in a good spot. They're trying to keep, it's like bad news comes out, or they get bad news and then some good news come out, or it's vice versa. Like they can't just get good news. It's always like, oh, here's really bad news. And then, obviously they get this good news where Terry McLaurin is signing a 3-year, $71 million extension with Washington. He's back. There are a lot of people were worried that, that he may get traded and all that good stuff, but Terry is back. Terry is a commander, I should say, here for at least for the next couple of seasons. So good job by Washington signing their number one offensive player. Good job.
Oh, absolutely. Scary Terry, I would have to give him, his quarterback carousel has been, but he's still putting up the numbers. 3rd round pick. The only other, in the 3rd round person was Deontay Johnson, who's setting out at Steelers camp, who's put up similar numbers, as a possession receiver. You look at some of the guys that, besides Debo in the 1st round, how Terry fall this far? But kudos to them for paying him, and maybe whoever starts at quarterback will get it done.
Yeah, intrigued to see if Wentz Wagon can get things going there in Washington. Like, I will say though, between now that they got Dotson, and I've got a chance to see Dotson a little bit in person. The kid looks like he's got some talent. Mm-hmm. They may have struck gold on Dotson. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be a Pro Bowler the first year, but they finally I think they may have finally found their number 2 or their main slot guy. Damani Brown is starting to come around. So we'll see what the Commanders can do. But They just got to get rid of the off the field stuff. That's the thing that's killing them. That off the field stuff is brutal, man. They just can't stay out of the headlines.
Controversy sells tickets. It keeps you in, it's there. It keeps the fans pumped up because they got to protect their team. I'm not saying it's justified, but I mean, what is it? What's a proper way to say this? Scandal sells.
I mean, let's be honest with you. Like, how many people watch certain things because they just want to see what the outcome is going to be? Like, sometimes it's like that's why I say, you look at a guy like, like the Kyrie. We go back to Kyrie and Durant. I mean, you know how many people are going to be tuned in even if that trade happens, just so they can see, can they coexist again? Can that happen again? So, but you're right. Controversy sells, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That was it for our top stories. And now we're going to get into 4 days. Now, we've been waiting a minute to get back into 4 days. Now, for those who are new to the show, and they were like, well, what is 4 days? So 4 days, we started off as 2 a days a long, long time ago. And we used to do 2 teams each show. And we would go through and do, a preview over the team, our initial thoughts of the team as we headed into the season and doing those 2 a days. But now we kind of expanded out to 4 days, and we're going to have this going on for the next 8 weeks leading into the NFL season. And then, of course, we're going to bring back all our predictions and all that fun stuff as the season goes along. So, Jay, we're here for it. We got the AFC South, the Jaguars, the Texans, the Titans, and the Colts. So let's get into it. Let's break into it. We're going to start off with the 4th place team in that division last year, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville last year, 3-14 record. They were 4th in the division last year. Key addition for me, and this is what I put down, but Doug Peterson. And I wish I still had the video, but I tried to behave. I took it off because I promised myself, I promised Becca I was going to be a little bit better about it. So I took the video away. We're just going to have to head to Deshaun Gate when that time comes. But anyway, Doug Peterson is a key addition for this team. They bring in Christian Kirk, all that, but that disaster that they had at the head coach position last year was rough. And then their key loss, DJ Chark. What are your thoughts about this Jacksonville team, what they did in the offseason as we head into the 2022 NFL season?
I mean, to be honest, I'm excited because, Doug Peterson is one hell of an offensive coach. I will say that 100%. He takes, a little bit of nothing and turns it into a lot. And, you got Trevor Lawrence, the, number 1 overall pick from last year? Mm-hmm. You're getting ETN back. You got James Robinson. You got the loss of DJ Chark, but you bring in Marvin Jones, who is a really good possession receiver and a locker room leader. And Zay Jones had some great games last year for the Raiders. So you look at that, and then defense. The Trayvon Walker, I'm still trying to swallow that shit because I just don't see where he was number 1 pick material. But they traded back up with Tampa and got 27th, and they got Lloyd. And I think that along with Dean falling as far as he did, those are going to be 2 of the biggest steals of this draft.
Yeah, I was very surprised that they got Lloyd at 27. Were able to come back in and get Lloyd. I thought he would have been gone by then. So I mean, it feels like Jacksonville. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Other than the pick of Lawrence last year, I feel like they've been defensive heavy in the draft the last couple of years. And there's been a couple of times that they had 2 picks in the round and they went defense on those picks. So I mean, what are you?
I'm just looking down at their depth chart, and I'm just looking, and I see talent. They got Arden Key, who was considered a top 10 pick, but then fell because of he didn't have good interviews. Well, sometimes you just gotta get your shit together. Josh Allen came on. He is a monster Knowing Doug Peterson, I believe I didn't research to see who their defensive coordinator was, but I'm going to guess they're running 3-4 still, and that's going to be insane to watch. Chad Muma, the dude from Wyoming, oh my God, he's a tackling machine.
Yeah, I mean, another. That's what I said. Defensive wise, you think they're going to go in there and they've shown flashes. They remember that game against Buffalo last year when they kind of shocked everybody, and Josh Allen sacked Josh Allen 3 times in that bad boy, and they ended up winning like 9-6. So there's potential there. But just imagine what they can do with coaching. And Trevor Lawrence. I read something the other day. Trevor Lawrence. They asked him about, hey, what are your thoughts on Doug Peterson so far? And he had nothing but great things to say about Doug Peterson and how the culture has changed, with Doug Peterson being the man at head coach, minus Urban Meyer there. So I think they're going to be a little bit better, in my opinion, just off of that. And, like you said, ETN's coming back. If they can get a healthy James Robinson back, that gives you a two-headed monster, potential two-headed monster at running back. And Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk. We're going to find out if he's worth the 4-year, $84 million that just ruined the receiver market. Thank you, Christian Kirk.
I know, I didn't even bring it up because it pisses me off. You give top money to a third or fourth wide receiver,
right? And that's where it went down. So as I said, Jacksonville is going to be very interesting to see what the Jaguars do here this season. And because, when we get closer to the season, we're going to give you our full blow up and really go into some stuff. But
one guy you got to watch fantasy-wise, Evan Ingram was picked up.
Yes.
And we know Doug Peterson love his tight ends.
Yes, and that's the thing. They I know he got some work in at receiver at one point. They had talked about moving to receiver, but no, you got a guy who can play the tight end position pretty well. Hopefully, he can get out there and give Trevor Lawrence an extra blanket. So, we'll see if this Jacksonville team can move up a little bit higher in this division and move from, fourth, maybe the third, who knows, even second. I'm not going to push it, but we'll see how things go there. Next, we talk about the third place team from last year, the Houston Texans. They went 4-13 last year. Davis Mills was their quarterback for the majority of the season. No Deshaun Watson, who was their key loss, but he really didn't make a difference on the team. But when you still lose a guy like a Deshaun Watson, a Pro Bowler, a guy who can play at an MVP level at times, it's going to be tough. So, my thing is, what are your thoughts here about this Houston Texans team? They did draft Derek Stingley Jr. They had 2 first-round picks this year. What are your thoughts on the Texans?
I like where they went. They addressed 2 secondary spots, which their secondary, they sucked. Let's be honest. Davis Mills was a very high blue. Don't fuck my light up, dude. The dog's in here, and he's gonna tear down my entire studio. But for me, they got a good linebacker back in, because when Wiley left, they didn't have any leadership on defense. And Christian Harrison, might be underrated. And then you look, they got themselves a guard, and right beside Tunsil. I'm excited. Davis Mills was very, very, very good last year. I want to see him grow, but nothing to disrespect Lovie Smith, but to Tampa 2's dad, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to see Lovie got another shot, in the league. A very unexpected shot. A lot of people, I ain't gonna lie to you, I really thought they was gonna give that a position to Josh McNown. He's been a finalist for this job 2 years in a row. I really thought they were going to give it to Josh McNown. I'm glad that Lovie did get another opportunity. But Davis Mills, really good at home last year. Really good. He had some really good games at home last year for the Texas team. The one thing Davis Mills has to fix is how he plays on the road. And I think his ratio was like 1 touchdown to like 9 interceptions. It was something crazy. But he's got to fix that. He's got to fix that, Jay. If they can get that together. If they can get that together, he can be a little bit more stable. Good things can happen. Underrated
guy to watch for, Nico Collins. He He very much reminds me of like a KJ Hamler type of wide receiver. Not the fastest on the field, but great hands, great route runner.
All right. I mean, this Texans team very intriguing this year. To see where they land. Marlon Mack at running back. I'm intrigued to see if Mack can get back to where he was 2 years ago. Before the injury. He got hurt and they didn't play him that much last year in Indianapolis. There were trade talks in the middle of the season. It never happened. It never came to fruition. I'm hoping for the best for Marlon Mack because Marlon Mack is like 25 years old. He's not old in quarterback standards by far. So
he's still got tread on the tires, man.
Yeah,
I agree.
If he can come in there and do some things for Houston, we'll see how things go. Next one, we go to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, this team probably the most disappointing team in a lot of people's eyes. Because, even with Carson Wentz at quarterback last year, Carson Wentz had like 27 touchdowns to 5 picks. If you look at it statistic-wise, he did not have a bad season. He had a really bad game against Jacksonville and a really crazy game against the Buccaneers. And he had a weird game against the Ravens where they were winning by 3 touchdowns and they ended up losing the game. Those 3 games cost the Colts from getting into the playoffs. Now, all on him. Not all on him. The Jacksonville game was all him. He got to take blame for that. The Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. And then the Ravens, let's be honest with you, the defense let them down. A really good defense let them down against a very talented Lamar Jackson. But Lamar Jackson is going to give everybody trouble. What are your thoughts on
one game where they didn't have to go for a 2-point conversion?
Right. So looking at this, the Colts, key addition, Matt Ryan. Key loss, Carson Wentz. Gaining Matt Ryan is huge for this team. You get a veteran who can come in, who's been to a Super Bowl, who's won an MVP. You give him probably the best line he's ever had. We're going to see what he can do. Obviously losing Carson Wentz, but if you can gain Matt Ryan in the process, to me, that's an upgrade. Jay, what are your thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts?
I absolutely agree with that analogy, 1,000%. Matt Ryan, yes, he's old. But he's still got the arm. The only big concern I have is making sure the wide receivers stay healthy. And, they've got a guy that was and should have been a lot more in the MVP talks. And Jonathan Taylor, that man, let me tell you, one cut and gone, he's brought it back. It's great watching him play.
Yeah,
I love it.
I had him as my number 2 guy in the MVP race last year. And to be honest with you, if they had a closer record to the Packers, I would have gave it to him. He was everything for that team last year, and they just had a couple games that just didn't go their way. And
you look who they brought in. They brought in Stephen Gilmore, remember?
Yeah.
A great free agent pickup. You put him with Rocky. I probably can't say his name, Roxane or whatever the hell you want to call it. But I just looking at it, they're good all the way across. The Quiddy Payne, yeah. I hate Michigan players, but I love Quiddy Payne. I love his story. Breakout candidate for Jay this year.
Yeah. Then they I think they made a trade with the Raiders too, and they got oh God, I don't want to destroy his name. Yankinik, Nowachka, the guy he was with Jacksonville, played with I think.
Oh, Yannick Nakadu.
There you go. I never said a man's name right, but he's always a great piece. They brought him in to kind of help out. What's my man that they got from
Darius Leonard?
There you go, Darius Leonard. Who's the guy on the line though? Who's their man on the line?
DeForest Buckner.
DeForest Buckner. So you bring in him to go beside Buckner, help their defensive line. I like what they got going on there.
I mean, they easily can win this division as long as, the biggest disappointment I've had is Paris Campbell.
Right.
And don't take this wrong way because Becca knows his wife. I want to see him play a whole season. If he could play a whole season, he'll be a Pro Bowl.
See, that's my biggest concern about this Colts team. Receiver position. They drafted Alex Pierce, a young man. A lot of people say he was turning heads in camp from Cincinnati. So he'll be intriguing. T.Y. Hilton is still a free agent, and there's talks that he could sign back with him, but I don't know if T.Y. is the answer. Pittman had a really decent season last year. Can he really step into that number one role? Can he be the true to heart number one guy for Matt Ryan? And that's where it gets intriguing. If they can figure out everything there.
Well, see, they got they need that speed guy because Pittman's more of a body catcher, high point. So that's where I hope Pierce can come in, put him in the slot and open up stuff all across the field. I've still got Mo Alley Cox, who has really turned into a great tight end.
And let's not forget they also drafted Jelani Woods, the 6'7" monster from Virginia.
And God, I wanted him in Tampa so bad, bro.
You weren't the only one, sir.
Oh, man.
Jelani is tough, and we got the privilege last year of seeing Jelani play in person. I mean, just a big dude. You try to tackle him, good luck. I remember, I think it was myself and Ty. We were at the Illinois game and come across the middle, dragging 3 or 4 guys. Just a big. It's a guy you don't want to just have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But
he is a new version Gronk.
I like what I saw from him, and I know we're hyping him because we've seen him a lot. But I'm telling you, with him and Mo Alley Cox, together, who knows? I mean, Ryan's got some decent pieces on that team. We're gonna see if the Colts win in that division.
How many touchdowns did he throw to his star tight end last year, though?
One. So
I just got to bring it up to be.
I mean, but it's right though. But you're right though. I mean, he's going to have to use the resources he has because if they don't sign anybody else, I mean, obviously Julio Jones is out there, but doesn't look like he's signing with anybody anytime soon. So it's just like you look at it and see where do you?
Is AJ Green available?
AJ Green he's signed back with the Cardinals. So no AJ Green on that one. But anyway, Colts, we'll see what they do. Like I said, we're going to get more deep into all these teams when we get our big season preview as we get closer to the season. But now let's head to our last team in our 4-day. It's the Tennessee Titans. They won the division last year. Tennessee, they were 12-5, first in the division. A shocking 12-5. Well, should I say shocking? I did have them going 14-3, Jay.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I did have them going 14-3. Now,
see, I got to disagree with something on this. Okay.
What?
Your key addition is Robert Woods.
I mean, the receiver position is hurt.
It is hurt, but I mean, is he really a key addition? I mean, last year was his healthiest year ever in his career.
He was hurt last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Get out of here. Well, but it's key for this reason, in my opinion. You gotta you bring him in, and you know that you're getting rid of, or I guess eventually you feel confident enough to get rid of AJ Brown, who in a lot of people's eyes is going to be a stud. Has been a stud in the league and could truly help out Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. But you get rid of an AJ Brown, who we've seen how talented he could be, for Robert Woods, who's shown flashes. So we'll see, man. I mean, but Tennessee, even with Henry being hurt for half of the season, still were able to pull off a lot of victories.
Yeah, but for me, AJ Brown had his worst year ever as a pro last year.
Right.
So I mean,
but he was also hurt too. That's because we really didn't get a chance to see him be the guy he was the year before because of the injury. So I don't know. This Tennessee team, to me, if I had to pick the division right now, Jay, I think I might have Tennessee finishing like third. No,
I'm not gonna I would say second or third because for me, I've got Indy finishing first.
Right.
I'm not even gonna mess around with that but I gotta say I watched some of Derrick Henry's workout videos this year.
Mm-hmm.
He might put up 2K, bro.
Man, look,
that's all I'm saying.
He would have put it up last year if he didn't get hurt. Here's the crazy thing about Derrick Henry. I don't remember his official finishing place in the rushing title. I want to say he finished sixth. or seventh.
And how many games did he miss?
He missed 9 games. And before he got hurt, and he probably would have been MVP in my opinion. Like the way he was going, he had a 300-yard rushing lead over Jonathan Taylor when he got hurt. He still had the rushing lead for another 3 weeks before Taylor took the spot. It's like, so it's just like
really, I was watching him like he was doing resistance with running with weights on, and it didn't tell how much he pushed out with his arms, but it was at least 250. And just threw it out. I was like, oh man,
he's amazing, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, my two favorite non-Packer players are Josh Allen and Derrick Henry, and it's just watching them play. I get a joy out of watching them play football, and it's just like they make the game fun to watch, and it's just so dangerous. So those are my two Packer player like players to watch on the field. They're just a joy. But this Tennessee team, man, it's a lot of questions. A lot of questions, and to see if Vrabel can find a way to get him another division title. But in this division, it's possible. In this division, it is possible.
Now, you started this off saying this is possibly one of the worst divisions of football. But to be honest, I'm excited about this division because, we go back 3 years ago and we're talking about how this is one of the best divisions in football.
Right. We were just saying that a couple years ago.
And for me, the changes and the things that they've done, I'm, not trying to give shit about the NFC East or even the NFC South. Because if you take Tom Brady away from Tampa Bay, the NFC South is a shit show.
Yeah, NFC South gets real interesting. The Panthers and the Falcons are kind of like, and the Saints are like, maybe they're going to be really good. But the Saints made a lot of moves in the offseason, so.
Yeah, with a whole bunch of nothing. I mean,
it's weird. Like the way their whole offseason was just like, you don't know. We're still waiting to hear what Michael Thomas' situation will be.
And Alvin Kamara is going to be out at least 6 weeks, if not more.
That breaks my heart. I traded for him in my dynasty league too.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, it makes me hurt. Not in our dynasty league. I think I already had him in our dynasty league, but the other dynasty league.
No. It makes me happy because I'm a Tampa fan.
I bet it does.
Well, since Tom Brady has come to Tampa Bay, he has yet to beat the Saints in the regular season.
It's crazy.
I'm just being honest, man.
Crazy stat. All right, everybody. That is wrong graphic. Anyway,
yes, what we got.
So that is it for our 4 days for this week. Next week we're gonna bring you the NFC East, and we're gonna talk about those Cowboys and those Eagles and the Giants and the Washington Commanders. So that'll be next week. We go to the NFC next week for our 4-day. So be on the lookout for it. Now, before we end this bad boy today, y'all already know what time it is. Jay, you can go ahead and cover your ears, sir.
And now it's time for Cash or Trash.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Cash or Trash this week is all about the AFC South. So we're going to start this one off with our first Cash or Trash here in the AFC South. First one, we're going to start with old Tennessee. Cash or Trash, we will see Malik Willis start this year. Cash or Trash?
For his learning, I want to trash it just because I think Willis needs to set. And I know, everybody's like, oh, it's just damn Ryan Tannehill. But setting, watching, seeing how everything goes, I really have high praise for Willis' ability, but I want to see him become a student of the game.
This is a big year for Ryan Tannehill. And, that's crazy saying that, especially for a guy who, has been in the league for a while. Just signed a big contract with Tennessee not too long ago, but it's a big year for you. If you don't come through this year, there's a guy waiting in the wings to take your spot. It's that simple. This is probably this is his biggest year of his career. Like, he's got to step up.
Oh yeah.
You can't have those interceptions like you had in that playoff game against.
Well, I was just gonna say he's the Marvin Lewis quarterback. He's great during the regular season.
Ridiculous, man. It was a crazy game to watch. And I just remember sitting there watching, like, man, Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times in that game. You get sacked 9 times in the game, you're supposed to lose.
Well, Joe Burrow remembers 4 minutes of that game too.
Right. So I am going to and I'm cashing it only because I feel like it's just going to be pressure. At some point during this season, they're going to have pressure to start him. Maybe I'm not going to say Tannehill gets hurt. I just got a weird vibe about. I don't want to see it happen. I agree with you. I trash it because to the sense I don't want to see him get on the field just yet. Give him a year. Let him learn a little bit more. But I'm going to cash it because I just got a bad vibe about it.
I watched Taylor Lewan. I don't remember the name of the podcast that he co-hosts with, and they were talking to Mike Allstott, and he was very much praising Willis's work ethic, even though Tannehill is his guy. He said he can't wait to see what he can do on the field.
Well, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued because I want to see what he can do, and I'll take it as a cultural thing real quick. But Tennessee has always been really good about drafting black quarterbacks or African American or they've had. Let me put it this way. They've had pretty decent success with drafting black quarterbacks. Yes, Vince Young didn't last long, but Vince Young won the MVP. Not the MVP.
Jeff fucking Fisher. Need I say more?
Vince Young won Rookie of the Year. Had some pretty good moments there. Obviously, Air McNair. And then obviously,
oh God,
rest
in peace, bro.
Oh my God, I love Steve McNair. Like people don't understand. Like that's if I was to ever get a jersey that was non-Packer jersey, it would be a Steve McNair jersey, and it would be no question. And then Warren Moon. So they've always had some type of success with African American quarterbacks. Unlike some other franchises, but I won't name names at this current time. But it's just it will be fun to see, eventually down the road how he does. But I've always been a guy who I don't hate Ryan Tannehill. Like he's had some good moments. It's just like you gotta step up when you get that big contract, man.
When it counts, though, on the field, you got to step up or shut up.
Exactly. Next one, Cash or Trash. We go to the Houston Texans. Cash or Trash. Lovie Smith will last more than 1 year in Houston.
I gotta trash it because don't get me wrong. I love Lovie. I absolutely love him. Great human being, great coach, was an innovator during the ground and pound era. But when he was in Tampa for that 1 year, I mean, we got lit. Unless he changed his defensive philosophy. And, I watched him in Illinois. His defense is still soft.
It was bad. I remember him in Illinois, too, and I thought, oh, man, it's going to be great for Illinois. But it wasn't. And I felt really bad for him. Like I said, again, I'm glad Lovie got an opportunity because he's a Class A guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been an NFL coach. He's been in the league and, in and out here for the last, 15, 20 plus years in the league. And, you want to see him do well. But I am going to trash this because of the organization. It has nothing to do with Lovie. It's the organization. I still think the coach from last year got a bad rap. For him to win 4 games with that team,
the circus of bullshit and be able to do that. Yeah,
he had to deal with all that stuff last year, and I still think to this day he got a raw deal. They didn't give that man an opportunity. They didn't give him the pieces he needed, and they didn't give him the opportunity to help grow that team in his eyes. In my opinion, unless he was just doing trashy stuff behind closed doors. But with that organization, who knows? But my whole thing is I don't.
Interesting thing, J.J. Watt, just maybe call it a sixth sense, but he left the franchise that he'd been with forever, the city that he loved, because he knew shit wasn't right.
It's crazy. Hopkins leaves, all these people. Let's think about it. Watson wanted to leave right before everything went crazy. So a team that was obviously, if the things looked the way they looked, had been helping him out in certain areas, and he still wanted to leave. What is going on with inside that organization?
Exactly.
That's what makes you wonder. I told you if I had to rank teams with just struggling organization statuses right now, it would be Washington, unfortunately, because of their situation. The Texans would be 2, and then right at 3, I'd have the Browns. only because of the Watson situation. I just feel like they're going through the most right now. And then I think I got the Dolphins like right underneath them. Those would be my top 4 teams. And that's only because I felt like the Dolphins situation with Flores was just weird. And I don't think they did a good job. I mean, yes, obviously they did a good job of getting players in, but there's something still up top.
It don't make sense why they got rid of Flores.
Exactly.
I agree with you 1,000% on that.
So, and we've always praised Flores on this show. We love Flores as a coach. And the fact that he's not even a head coach this season blows my mind. But he'll be ready next year. He get a year in Pittsburgh. We'll see how things go.
Well, yeah. I just hope. Yeah. Well, go ahead. We'll cover that division later because I'm worried about Tomlin.
Yeah. I mean, Tomlin's never had a losing season. Snuck into the playoffs last year. And look, when you're a great coach, you find ways. You know, or you play a really bad Ravens team that doesn't want to go to the playoffs. It's either or. It's your choice.
Well, and I've heard bad things about, lose my strong hand.
Jesus. All right, next one. Cash or trash. Trevor Lawrence will be a top 15 quarterback this year.
Cash. I'm gonna say it because Doug Peterson, even though it kind of went tits up with Hurts or Wentz getting hurt, and then Jalen Hurts and him didn't seem to vibe.
Mm-hmm.
With what Lawrence does, Lawrence is a bigger bodied, much healthier version of Carson Wentz. He can drop a dime in the middle of a snowstorm, bro. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what year 2 of Trevor Lawrence will be, because towards the end of that season, he took a beating last year. God bless him. We talked about him. They needed to go get an offensive line. That's something we missed on 4 days of it. They did a good job, I think, of going out there trying to repair that offensive line a little bit. You bring in Brandon Sheriff from Washington. That was a nice play. They kind of traded offensive lineman, but Sheriff is obviously a multiple-time Pro Bowler. I think he may have been an All-Pro in there at some point. But I look at that, and if his line keeps him upright, we've seen flashes of what it could be, and that's with a trash head coach. Let's see what he has with a Super Bowl winning head coach and a decent offensive line. So yeah, I cash it, man. I think Trevor can be a top 15. I'm not giving top 10 yet, but he's got potential to be top 15.
He's got the tools, but you got to do it.
Yep, got to do it. Last one on Cash or Trash before we get out of here. We got Cash or Trash. Matt Ryan will have his best year at quarterback with Indy. Cash or Trash?
I got to trash it because I went back and I was looking at his numbers that he had when he won his MVP. I mean, he was like, let's see, 56 yards from 5,000, 38 touchdowns and 7 picks. He's older, much older than when he did this. And again, we bring up the wide receiver health. Is he going to have a good year? Yeah, but no, it's not going to be his best season ever.
I'm going to. This is tough for me. I want to cash it so bad, but I'm going to trash that he has his best year ever. But I'm going to cash that he has his healthiest year ever. I feel like if that line stays healthy, he's going to probably be his probably his most healthiest he's ever been in his career. He's going to be able to stay upright. I feel like he's going to have more time. You got a guy with leading that line and Quentin Nelson. The sky's the limit. They've got a great running back. They've got 2 solid, young, good tight ends. They got potential at receiver. We'll see. Defense is
top 10 defense.
Top 10 defense, and defense gets you a long way. It can get you in the playoffs, and if your defense can hold up, anything can go in the playoffs. Good run game on that turf. The way as fast as Jonathan Taylor is, who knows? But that's how I got it going on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see him do good things because, I mean, even though he was playing for a rival for most of his career, you never want to see bad things happen to anybody. I mean, the only time I wanted to see anything bad happen was with the quarterback that is my quarterback now, was Tom Brady. Because, I'm not one of those people that, he's the best. I'm my favorite. No, it's not the way it works.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I'm right there with you. All right, everybody, that is it for episode 294 of the Legacy Maker Sports Podcast here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. We're going to be back next Wednesday to bring you episode 295. Yeah, we came on Tuesday this week. Tomorrow, Leroy Butler joins me on one-on-one for episode 58 on one-on-one.
I'm upset about that because I got kicked off the last time.
No, so we got to tell y'all this story. So first time we had him on the podcast the first time. So we had him on the podcast, and as the podcast is going great. We're like 30 minutes in. Jay, I don't know what happened. There's like the system just kicked him out. It would not let him come back in, and we couldn't get him back in for the show. It was
I had to sit and watch.
Watch, you know, and
interviewed.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Now, we did get a chance this year. If y'all haven't had a chance, go back and watch 293. We did get former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and 3-time Super Bowl champ LeGarrette Blount. That was great. That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Shiano.
We had fun with that.
Shiano.
Fuck you, Shiano. Sorry, Russ.
Oh, that's great. Well, look, we will be back next week. We're going to be doing the NFC East next week. So just be on the lookout for that. And
bro, you said it wrong. You said that wrong.
The NFC
least.
That's where I thought you were going. With it. Well,
Jay, I can already see I'm gonna get all types of shit in the group chat for that one.
Yeah, they're gonna come for you. They're gonna just a little bit. Hey, Jay, anything you want to say before we get out of here today, brother?
No, just like we always, I feel like it's been an echo. Love your people. Call them. Check up on them. You never know when people going through shit. Things happen. Life sucks sometimes, and maybe just hearing your voice will put a spark in their day, make a smile.
Awesome. Like before we get out of here, I just want to give y'all a quick run through the shows we got coming up in the next couple of days. We got a fun-filled lineup over the next week, so make sure y'all check it out. Tomorrow, one-on-one, Leroy Butler comes in. Commonwealth Sports Talk, Courtney Kofer, head coach of Woodbridge High School, will be with Joe Dillard on.
We missed you, Joe.
Yeah, glad to have Joe back, man. Joe was out doing his thing as a coach at the local school, so glad to have Joe back in the mix. In and Out returns with myself and Drew on Monday for 4th of July edition. Brian H. Waters, don't get me wrong, Brian H. Waters, one of our guys who's a friend of the network. He comes and talks wrestling with us. He'll be on there as well. And then this is the one I'm excited to watch. Paul Schofield, ladies and gentlemen, former Legacy Maker alumni, will be on there next week. And then me and myself and Jay will be back Wednesday. And then one-on-one, we'll also have a one-on-one Wednesday as well. But one-on-one.
What's Paul being on?
On In and Out. Yeah, Paul's going to be on In and Out. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm watching that.
I'm watching that because I can't wait to see Paul back in action, man. It's been a minute. But once again, everybody, make sure y'all check him out. Make sure you check out all our shows. Make sure you like the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Me and Jay will be back next week. Yeah. And Legacy on Fire will be back soon, y'all. Don't worry. We're going to bring it back. We'll be a couple weeks, but we'll be back.
You're going to get my ass kicked. You know that, right?
Yes.
You forgot one.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Let me make sure. Because I ain't trying to get don't run, Jay, run. No. And of course, can't forget this one. And Monster Minutes will be, I believe, Sunday this week. They just returned back last week. They had a week off. Monster Minutes is back in the mix. Couple of tracks this year. If you haven't had a chance to check out the coverage Becca has been given, it's been great. We had a lot of great track coverage last year. This year coming up, we've been to Darlington. We've been out to
Martinsville.
We've been to Richmond. We've been to Charlotte. Waiting to get back into Darlington and Martinsville and Charlotte and all that stuff this year with another round of it. So great job from Becca, man. We truly appreciate all the hard work that you put in. So, yeah, just beat me up later, Becca, but I do love you. Appreciate you for everything you do. Keep rocking and rolling, baby girl. Once again, everybody, that is it. My name is Darrell Owens. That's Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. We are out. Peace.
Peace.
I guess the video is going to show. Wait a minute.